We're back on the Ohio to Erie Trail, heading up to South Charleston, into Columbus and German Village. The trail you see here is not actually a jumping off point. Our jumping off point is lost. We have no video of it because 128 gigabytes of video is somewhere on the trail before this episode here. Laying there, if you happen to be on the Ohio to Erie Trail and see an SD card, give me a shout. I'd love to see the video of footage of what I've got. But we will start off today showing a map of where we're at and where we're going to go to. We're going to start at Waynesville and Corwin, and we're going to go through Spring Valley, Xenia, Cedarville, and on into South Charleston. This shows us coming out of Waynesville, stopping at Xenia Station. We're going to go on up to South Charleston, and South Charleston is our first day's ride. In South Charleston is a bed and breakfast. It's a great bed and breakfast called the Houstonia at thehoustonia.net. Make sure you get a reservation because it's not going to have empty rooms. And this is what it looks like. It's a very nice home feel. And then on in through London and into Columbus. Now I'll pause here because from about this section right there where I've paused is where I've got footage. So I do have good footage of going into Columbus. If you're ever worried about that, rest assured the area going into Columbus, and I found going through Columbus, was not hard. I've seen some things that say that's a difficult area. It's not. It's very well marked. But back to where I have footage. This was a park, and we're going to come out through the park and then go through the countryside. So we're going to chase squirrels. I'm going to quit talking and let you enjoy the scenery to see the kind of ride that you can have. There are some hilly areas, like what we just came up through was a little hilly. But we had electric bikes, so it didn't bother us a bit. If you're older like us, and it's very easy to travel this trail on pedal assist bikes, and if you're staying at motels, hotels, you can charge them each night. We took our bikes actually into the room every time. I'll quit talking, throw up a little music, and let you, and I'll only interject when we're going by something that you might want to know about. Thanks for watching. I'm back again. Just wanted to talk about crossing some of these roads. You'll notice they have the ramps going up, but you'll notice this is not like a lot of sidewalks. This is quite wide, and the reason for that is that this is a part of the trail. We're going to spend about 5 minutes on this section, and it goes by businesses, places to eat. You can always grab a quick bite, but it's made as a trail. You'll actually see that it'll have the center line drawn. You want to be careful crossing these roads when there's a lot of traffic, because some of these people, they pull into the walk lane and right across from access points that allows you to ride smoothly up onto the trail. Well, they'll park right in it. Now that spot right there, I wanted to talk about crossing railroad tracks. Make sure you always cross perpendicular to a railroad track. If you cross at too much of an angle, you can actually have your tires slip into that. And I had a work buddy once that told me he ended up in the hospital for quite a few days with broken pieces and parts because it flipped him up over the handlebars, and the bike came down and he came down quite severe. So be very careful. take a pause for the artwork you'll see alongside the road. This is a depiction of the Cincinnati skyline, Columbus skyline, and it goes on to the Cleveland skyline. Stop and enjoy the artwork. Every now and then you'll come to little sections like this where the trail doesn't go on across the road the same side of the tracks. We're actually having to go up on the highway, but you'll notice a lot of road work. This probably won't be there when you get there after my video, because they're working on the roadway and they've actually working on the side. If you see how wide that is, they're putting in a trail marked right on the road. So we couldn't go straight. We had to take a little detour. The detour takes us down into a little neighborhood that doesn't get attention to its roads. As we turn this curve here, going to get back to the trail, the road is atrocious. So be aware that you may or may not come across situations like this where the trail is being repaired and you're out on a road. You may have to go through some pretty rough stuff. This road had chuck holes all over it. I thought for sure I was going to hear a crash behind me, but thankfully I did not on this road. I may have on other roads, but that'll be in another video. But we come to this road and then off we go, and you'll notice here a train track, and you'll see me curve toward the middle like that to make sure that I went over them perpendicular. And then there's the trail. That's how you'll find some highways and the trails marked clearly on the side, and it even will have a sign like right there you're going by on the right, showing you that you're on the right route, on the right trail route. You will get into areas where there are different trail routes. Make sure you know the one that you're following. But this wasn't very far, maybe a mile at the most, and then we're crossing the road, getting back on the trail. And it's all good. On this trail, we took the perfect time. We worried about the weather. So we decided on when we were going to take it, and we ended up with no rain except one night. It sprinkled barely. There was never any rain while we were riding the trail. It was warm weather throughout, all except for 2 days. 2 days it was quite nippy, and had we prepared properly, that wouldn't have been a problem. But we didn't quite have the coats and that we needed, or gloves. I could double up with what I did bring, and it worked out real well for me. My brother Rick didn't quite have a long sleeve warm jacket. He did have a windbreaker, but without a warm layer underneath on his arms. They got kind of cold, but it wasn't bad. The trails were quiet, that autumn look, covered in fallen leaves, and the colors and through some areas were just beautiful. So as you see here, we're starting to come into Columbus. You'll see the skyline grow as we get in further, and what you'll also see is us cross back and forth across the rivers and highways. A lot of bridges. You'll go along highways, but not real close. There is the traffic noise on some of those areas. One thing about these trails that I didn't know until I rode them was the Ohio to Erie Trail is a series of connected regional trails. So as you go down this trail, the regional name will stand out sometimes as prominently or more so than the Ohio to Erie signs. As we come into Columbus, the lower Scioto Greenway is what we travel on, and that's marked quite well. There's actually 24 regional trails that was put together to make the Ohio to Erie Trail, and they are quite nice. All paved. We didn't get into an unpaved portion until we were in some areas of Cleveland, and even those are being revisited and are being updated. So the trails are getting better, and I already thought they were pretty nice. As you're riding the Ohio to Erie Trail, you're going to look for the Ohio bike route signs. They're labeled number 1, but they are going to be changing to bike route 21 signs. A little bit different format, but they will actually be 21 instead of 1. Ohio is increasing the bike trails that you can ride on. They're quite nice. 85% of the route is on regional trails. 15% is country roads or city bike lanes. 326 miles. Might be something I'd do it again. I'd like to do it and camp so I can ride till I feel like it and stop when I want to. Might take some stealth camping.